Yes!
There's a real feeling that this is the best versus the best.
White's lost control. White has lost control completely.
How many more do you want?
Lift off for AJ!
This is The Voice.
What's great about this is someone's written my intro for you, and it actually begins with the word yes. Look. Yes! Time for The Voice, a weekly feature where we're joined in the studio by the voice of boxing, the legend that is Adam Smith, to take a look at the week's biggest stories. Smudger, are you well?
All good, Andy.
No.
How are you?
No.
Okay, come on then.
Are you good?
No. Yes!
That sounds great to hear that. Lovely to see you. You look well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel good. It's it's a difficult week with Ricky, which I'm sure we'll get on to.
We will.
But yeah, the boxing world is busy and lots going on. So exciting times.
Can I ask, have you done something different with your hair?
You ask that all the time.
It looks good today.
I had a cut.
Looks good today.
It's all right.
Looks good.
Not as good as you.
You got some golden paste for.
I've got some goals since golden pace. You know.
No, to give him because
got way
yesterday.
more hair than me.
Do you know what? Sorry, because yesterday he couldn't wait to get it out for Richard Ashcroft. So I'm
Excuse
guessing,
me?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so-
wow, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Bit of
Great
Sweet
hair pace.
Symphony.
Yeah.
No, Bittersweet Symphony.
That was great.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. To have him in the studio was a little bit nuts. It was nuts because I saw him at Wembley 2 weeks earlier in front of 90,000 people, and he's just me and Benty in here with him playing. It was insane.
I'm going to his concert, you know.
He should, mate.
I'm gonna.
Next year.
I'll give him a message.
A private concert for you two.
Yeah, it was nuts.
He's cool, really cool guy.
Really cool cat. Well, you're a cool cat. That's why we've got you in the studio.
Not about that, but
Only cool cats. Only cool cats on our show.
Okay.
Let's start with another cool cat, actually,
take
Ben Whittaker.
yes, he's a cool cat.
He was with Ben Shalom. I don't know if you saw I'm sure you did the promo that came out during the week. I thought it was fantastic.
Incredible.
Really, really
Very
funny.
good.
Yeah, quite original, very funny, or very original. It just made me laugh. It made me smile. I thought both of them played their role in that. If you've not seen that gag, go watch it. It's on, of course, Matchroom's feed. What? In fact, let's have a little listen now, because the CEO of boxing at Matchroom, Frank Smith, he joined the breakfast show early this week and said the deal will take Whittaker's career to new levels.
It's all about progression in his career, and I don't think up to now he's had that progression in terms of fights. I don't think he's necessarily been matched the right way, and I think that's what we can do now and take him all the way to the top. You know, I've said time and time again, even before we signed him, which probably cost us more money, he's undoubtedly the biggest commercial star in British, but like the ability to be a superstar. You know, he's got everything.
I was talking to a couple of people out here that work in talkSPORT boxing, and I said they've taken a big jewel from Ben Shalom, and they said probably the crown jewel.
I was just about to say that, the crown jewel. I think Ben has everything that you need to be a crossover star. The looks, the charisma, the skills, the social media presence with Andy Lee. His career reigniting after the victory over Liam Cameron in the rematch. And, it's a big loss for Ben Shalom and a big gain for Eddie Hearn. And I know that Ben Whittaker wanted to, at some point, go with Eddie. I think that they are probably a match made in heaven, the two of them. But I feel for Ben Shalom as well. It's a difficult time. But he's got his BBC deal. Callum Simpson and Caroline Dubois and Adam Azim and plenty of good fighters that Ben has. But Ben Whittaker, I think, particularly special. And I think Matchroom will do fantastically for him.
So, Mike, do you think this is a sign of things to come? And I feel for Ben Shalom because we've spoke to him, we've had him on the show.
Yeah,
really nice guy. And yes, you're right. Ben Whittaker's gone. He's obviously got Adam Azim as well. He's got Lauren Price, who's I'm a big fan of as well.
Yep.
But
Fraser Clark.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be Chris Billam-Smith? Is it going to be one of those where the more they're watching what's going on with obviously Matchroom and the Saudi aspect and their investment and the big fights, the big shows that they're involved in, that it might be at the start of things to come in terms of more boxers leaving? Because BBC is huge, but because it's terrestrial, but it just doesn't have that same pull as the Saudi and the DAZN.
Or the money, maybe.
Or the money.
You know, that's the thing. I mean, BBC, fantastic. You know, we've grown up with the BBC, etc. It's wonderful having boxing back on terrestrial, but you see the money that's gone into DAZN and the money that's going into Zuffa Boxing and the various different ways that Turki Al-Sheikh has managed to take over boxing and bring it to a completely different level. So it's very interesting to see what the fighters do. Obviously, a lot are under contract. Adam Azim, for example, has got his next fight on the Eubank Ben card on the bill, so maybe that was really important for him. But he stays with Ben Shalom. Callum Simpson, who I'm pretty close to, thinks Ben Shalom's done a fantastic job for him. He's been selling out Barnsley live on Sky Sports and all of that. So, yeah, I think, look, it's different personalities, different stages of a career. And I think one of the reasons that Ben has gone to Matchroom, Ben Whittaker, is because of the global appeal. And, Eddie's got huge shows in America, Boots Ennis this weekend, Australia, ties in Japan, the whole sort of global. I think Ben Whittaker wants to be a superstar. When I first worked with Ben Shalom on Sky Sports, we were desperate to sign Ben Whittaker, and Matchroom were up against us at the time. And we managed to get Caroline Dubois, we managed to get Lauren and Caris Artingsaw, we managed to get Fraser Clark. But Ben Whittaker was the toughest one. And I remember we were in a Nando's outside Wolverhampton, and him and his dad and me and Ben Shalom. And I remember being on my knees begging Ben Whittaker to sign for Sky Sports, saying that we could turn him into a superstar, a pay-per-view star and all that. And he did. He took us and he went with Sky Sports. And, he's built up his brand, he's built up his reputation, and now he decides to go a different direction. For me now on DAZN, I'm delighted. I'm going to be calling his fights, and I think he's an absolute gem, as Andy said, a crown jewel maybe of the former Boxer outfit. But Boxer has still got great fighters. They've got the BBC contract, so it's good to see that Ben Shalom has got a really good set of fighters around him. But it's a big loss for him.
Smudge, am I a bit naive to think that not promotion companies don't matter, but if Ben Whittaker had stayed with Boxer and he was just knocking everyone out, eventually he'd become a superstar anyway? Or does it just not work like that? Like, you almost need the right stable behind you to kind of get you to that level?
That's a great question.
It's a really good question, and it's a difficult one to answer because there's different chess moves in boxing and right fights and different opponents. And you might say that, Ben Whittaker is a light heavyweight. Frank Warren's got most of the light heavyweights, certainly domestically, but they obviously want to do something different with Whittaker. I'd imagine he will fight here. There will be a sort of showcase fight possibly before Christmas, and then it will be maybe stateside, and they'll try and, sort of fuse the two, the America world and the British world. Globally, Matchroom want to do that. You've seen that they've signed with Turkey Al Sheikh, this new big deal for darts and for snooker. And I think that Ben Whittaker's looked at it and thought, wow, I want to be a global star.
So Simon Jordan, I was listening to someone, I think it was yesterday, he was quite scathing as to how the deal was done with regards to, Ben Shalom has not plucked him from obscurity, but, he's given him the break, given him that chance. And now all of a sudden he's jumped ship and he's gone with Eddie. Isn't that just boxing? I mean, it happens in football all the time, right?
Yeah.
So surely this is not uncommon what we've seen, is it?
It's competition, right? Yeah. I mean, Ben paid a lot of money. We got Ben Whittaker. I say we, Sky Sports and Boxer got Ben Whittaker. It was a massive signing at the time a few years ago. But Ben Whittaker wasn't plucked from obscurity. This guy was a superb amateur. He was one on everyone's radar, and he went over to the Olympics. He struck silver. He was devastated about it because he so wanted that gold medal.
I thought he won that fight, by the way.
Yeah, look, and he's a winner. And I think that he's a showman, and he's got everything that the Boxer wanted, that Sky wanted, and now that Matchroom also maybe need. Frank Warren has got a lot of the domestic talent in Britain. We've got this weekend, Dave Allen, of course, is on. We'll get to that. Is Matchroom. We've got another great fight on Matchroom next week, which is Conway and Liddard. But after that, you've got big shows on Queensbury. You've got the likes of Parker and Wardley. You've got Joshua Boatsi's night. Big shows. So I think Eddie and Frank Smith needed a big British name. And apart from Moses Atalma, they don't come bigger than Ben Whittaker.
Let's talk about Dave Allen. I love Dave Allen.
I love Dave.
Everything he stands for. Although he's slimmed down a bit, right? He's lost a few pounds. So he's taken this. I'm sure he takes all his fights seriously, but this one maybe a little bit more. Tell me about his fight at the weekend.
Very much so. I think psychologically, mentally, he's in a terrific place, Dave. He's always around ringside, whether it's in a corner, managing, training a fighter, on the mic alongside us. He's a great character, but he's taking his career really seriously now. He's 33. He's had a few defeats over the years, but he's always been that sort of nearly man, the man that's sort of really good in sparring, but when it comes to the big stage, can't quite perform those losses to the likes of Dillian White and David Price and so on. He had a good win over Lucas Brown back in the Sky days, and there's been Nick Webb as well, pockets. But it's really this last year where he's come together. The Johnny Fisher double, the first one where we all thought he won in Saudi. The second one where he definitively won by stoppage at the Copper Bosch. And Johnny Fisher took it on the chin, and it was great to see. And Dave, I think, realised that he's got an opportunity here. There's a window. The heavyweight division is really thriving, healthy, buzzing. There are so many fights that can be made. And I was talking to him a few weeks ago, and it was like, they're talking about me and Deontay Wilder. He's like, are they mad? And I'm like, Dave, you beat this Makhmudov, and you could have Wilder. And he's like, you think that? You think that? And so he's almost like needed a little bit of reassurance. He's got a fantastic corner team, Jamie Moore and Nigel Travers, who've been around him for a long time, but they've really got him into phenomenal shape. And he needs to be this Saturday because Makhmudov is a huge puncher, massive knockout artist, mountain, but he has been stopped a couple of times before, and Dave's got momentum. So is it a bridge too far? Or if he gets this win, he could be in the big money fights over the next 12 to 18 months. And why not? Later on in his career, he's just a cult character in British boxing, and everybody wants him to do well.
Do you think that's what not the expectation would be, but the focus? Because I don't think he's become heavyweight champion. There's just too many absolute monsters at the top of that heavyweight division.
I think he'd laugh. He was sitting here, he'd laugh. Go, what are you talking about, Benty? Heavyweight champion of Britain, maybe. He'd love that Lonsdale belt.
Yeah,
or
that's what I was going to say.
Because he didn't get a title for so long.
No.
And then he won a belt with Johnny Fisher, and I think he lost it within a couple of days under the cupboards or with the kids. But he's just fantastic for boxing because he's proof that if you really throw and put your mind, he's had the talent, put your mind to it, and you dedicate, there are still some times and some wonderful moments ahead for you in your career, especially at heavyweight. He's not an old heavyweight, and now he's in really good shape. Let's see the best of Dave Allen, and he'll need to be at his best. The homecoming as well in Sheffield, a Doncaster boy, so there's apparently 10,000 going to be there on Saturday night, and I think he'll thrive on it, but it's a tough, dangerous fight.
Smudge, you're going to stay with us till 5? Because we talked so much there, sadly we didn't have time for Jake Paul chat. Never mind, we'll do that another week. More from Adam Smith right after this Live and Drive and talkSPORT. Now, we were talking about some great fighters before. We're going to talk about one it sounds even mad saying we've sadly lost recently. And one of the greats in Ricky Hatton, of course. I know you're incredibly close with him. This Friday, it's his funeral, and you're heavily involved in that.
Yes.
Just tell us a bit more about that, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a tragic time for all of us in boxing. We've had. I mean, it's almost surreal to think that we've had the 10 bells in Sheffield at the GBM show a week and a bit ago, and then last weekend in Scotland as well. We've lost Ricky at 46. His actual birthday was on Monday, so that, I mean, it's just been such an outpouring of grief, of love, of really hard times. I spent a lot of time talking to the family, and it's just devastating. And it is really heartbreaking because so many people loved him, and everybody felt they had a connection with him, even if they didn't really know him. I used to say that 20,000 would fill up the Manchester Arena, and half of them he'd had a pint with. It just was. He was a special individual. So much fun to be around. Just so relatable, and everybody, it didn't matter who you were, what you did, Ricky would just always have time for people. So it's just, it's really, really sad. He leaves 3 children and a granddaughter behind, so all of our thoughts are with them this week as we head to Manchester. I'm going up tomorrow, and as are a lot of former fighters, friends, sort of gathering together, and on Friday it's going to be a very, very emotional, tough day, but hopefully people will give Ricky the send-off that I'm sure they will, that he most thoroughly deserves. There is a funeral procession that starts in Hyde, where he's from, and goes to Manchester, so people have a chance to go and pay their respects, and then there'll be a service in the Manchester Cathedral, which will be very, very tough. And I'm very honoured to be doing the eulogy. I was asked by the family, which I'll do the best I can. It's a big undertaking, and I loved him, and I'll speak from the heart. So it's a particularly hard end of the week. But we have to give him the love, the warmth, and his family the support that we can, the best we can. The Ricky Hatton Foundation has been launched to help those struggling with mental health issues, which is amazing that they've done that, and we'll all be trying to get behind that and help push that as best we can. And but Friday is all about Ricky and the love and the memories, and hopefully as sad as an occasion it will be, we'll be able to think of some of those unbelievable times we had with him.
Let me ask you, we've all, sadly, a lot of people listening to this, not everyone, but a lot of people listening to this have lost loved ones, right? Loved ones that are incredibly close. And what happens is you're constantly talking about this person, you're talking to other people about this person, you're sharing grief. But sometimes you forget to look after yourself. And I can see, obviously, it's still cutting you up. I can see it in your eyes. How are you at the moment? Are you all right? Are you good? I know it's difficult to be good, but are you talking to people about it? Because just talking about it now, I can see how cut up you are. And Friday's going to be incredibly difficult for everyone, including you. I'm just making sure that you're okay.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. I think there's a lot of people that feel the way I do. Talking to the other fighters that were close to him, the people that were in his corner, like Kerry Kays I saw on Saturday. People there's Paul Speak, who was, of course, his best friend, manager, who was with him all the way through. And it's just it's devastating for everybody. But I think talking about it, reflecting, keeping close, opening up, which I have done for my family. And, for example, my wife, my mum, everyone got close to Ricky. Everyone was at the fights and they felt part of the family. I remember Carol's 50th birthday, Carol Hatton, his mum, and everyone was there and he was at our wedding. And so there's a lot of personal memories. And I think, talking about it, it comes in waves, right? It's sadness. And then there's the funny stories. And I'm sure as time goes on, there'll be more of those.
Let me ask, because it's funny when you start watching and seeing stuff on social media, your phone understands what you want to see, algorithms and so on. And so recently, lots of Ricky Hatton stuff has been coming up on my phone. And I was coming in on the train this morning and I saw the press conference before the Mayweather fight.
Brilliant.
And it's almost like a stand-up routine. Like and you knew it wasn't, because he was ad-libbing quite a lot of it, because Mayweather would say something and he'd come straight back with a put-down, a very, very funny one. And so he wasn't just an unbelievable boxer. He was just such an incredibly, very quick and funny man as well.
Oh, he was fantastic as an after-dinner speaker at Raconteur.
Yeah, unbelievable.
His blue humour and his fun, and he just never took anything too serious. He took boxing very seriously when he was a fighter, but everything outside of the ring was just, it was a big laugh to Ricky, and if he could, wind people up, and he was great. Only Fools and Horses was his favourite, and you see the Trotter van, and he just, he was a really down-to-earth guy who never lost touch of who he was and where he came from, and he could always have fun with everyone and have time for people, which was I think the big thing.
Simone, so listen, we're always here. I know I've said that a million times here, but I'm always about if you want to chat Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever you want. I don't know if you say good luck with it all. I'm sure it'll all go. It will all go perfectly on the day, and we send you lots of love.
Thank you.
And so we will speak to you in a bit.
Thank you.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.